Hello everyone, Kody NOKOLO here. The prologue to a new indie title, Starstruck Hands of Time by Createdelic, was released a couple weeks ago on Steam. These are my impressions of the Starstruck prologue since the full game isn't out yet. It will be coming later this year. The gameplay of Starstruck seems like that of an RPG, though it doesn't stick to RPG traditions. There aren't any items you can find for an inventory, and combat can't be entered with enemy encounters that just happen to appear around the map. Because of the way combat works in Starstruck, I really didn't mind it being less traditional either. Rather than encountering random enemies, each battle is its own event in the story, and the combat mechanics are all based on rhythm. The most similar games I could compare to rhythm mechanics to would be the older Guitar Hero games, and Starstruck even supports those games' guitar controllers. There are some differences though. In Starstruck, there's an added layer of difficulty that requires you to play either on the top, middle, or bottom parts of the screen when hitting the notes. I didn't have much trouble learning this system since the game gives you a fair amount of leeway to learn them before it gets more difficult. It does get more difficult though, and I could feel this especially with the last song in the prologue. Though it was difficult, I didn't fail the song many times. I really didn't fail the other songs up to that point, so this one just stepped up the difficulty. Whether you're good or bad at any of the songs though, Starstruck is very forgiving when it comes to what you need to pass each song, so even if it's difficult to master one, passing is easy. I really enjoyed its rhythm mechanics, and I might even find a used guitar controller online just so I can try playing the game with it when the full game releases. Aside from its RPG-style gameplay, another type also appears briefly in the prologue, which I'll just call handy assists. For reasons I'll talk about later, if you encounter an obstacle that you need help passing, you'll be able to take control of a giant hand to destroy these obstacles and whatever else you can before time runs out. I loved how chaotic these segments were. I think the only thing that could have improved it more was if the hand's speed could be increased a bit, or if there was some kind of double speed button for the hand. After you grab a hammer with the hand, it takes even longer to move around too. Aside from that, I love these handy assists because they're handsome handfuls of fun. Sorry. Anyways, one of the most unique parts of Starstruck that will probably stand out to anyone just by looking at it is its art style. Immediately, the clay-like 3D animations really distinguished it from so many of the RPG indie games that take place in a modern time. So many of those games aim for an Earthbound style, and to me, it always seems to detract from their own identity, but Starstruck breaks that mold. From pictures and gameplay, it might seem like Starstruck's story starts in a way that games like Earthbound might, but it really begins far into the future with an astronaut that travels back in time to stop a disaster caused by a being called the Mold. With your ship's AI as your trusty companion, you play the role of that time traveler, and survey a character called Erwin, who's somehow related to the Mold. Soon after, you also start surveying another character Erwin idolizes called Dawn, and those handy assists from before are the result of the astronaut's hand being projected down onto Earth to help Erwin. I suggest you play the prologue yourself to learn more, but rest assured that it does become very interesting by the end. This game incorporates its art style into the story in ways I've always hoped other games would try to be more attentive to. My pessimism got the best of me when I started playing this without expecting it to take full advantage of that. Overall, I really enjoyed the Starstruck prologue and I recommend playing it on Steam. Starstruck Hands of Time should be coming out by the end of this year on Steam, so add it to your wishlist if you enjoy the prologue too. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give it a like, and if you want to keep up with Source Gaming's content in the future, subscribe. Support us on Patreon if you really enjoy what we do too. Thanks again, and always remember to return to the source.